This
Now, the news with Gary Liberatore and meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us here on this Wednesday morning. I'm Gary Liberatore.
And I'm Storm Tracker 2 meteorologist Eric Gage.
And boy, that packed some punch last night.
Yeah, pretty significant winds, especially in northern Oneida County, heading into Herkimer County. That was where the brunt of the winds were. As a matter of fact, I want to mention how strong those winds were yesterday. And we hit around, I believe, 77 miles per hour in some wind gusts in Rome. The record wind gust was reported with that July tornado in Rome back in 2024. Keep in mind, though, that the station that recorded this wind gust did not receive the strongest wind from the tornado, but just goes to show you that there were some pretty significant winds. Anything above 58 miles per hour is considered severe winds here locally. I mean, to be fair, anything that's above 50 or maybe 60 miles an hour is strong regardless. Downtown Utica, a quiet story early today. Clouds lingering early this morning, maybe some patchy drizzle as well. The Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 live radar also looking quiet. Temperatures in the 40s and 30s, some spots in the low 30s up north. But look at these temperature differences here. It's 67 Poughkeepsie, 38 in Buffalo. So you can see where those warm temperatures are still lingering right now. So today, we'll expect those temperatures to climb as high as the mid-50s. It's going to be a mainly sunny day today and a mainly dry day today. And as we head in the next few, we'll look at a gradual warm-up, but with increasing rain chances. We'll have the details coming up in a few minutes. Gary?
Thanks. The cleanup does begin following last night's severe storms that rolled through the area, and we start over in Rome. Folks there are seemingly on edge every time a storm rolls around after the tornado last July that Eric mentioned, and this morning they are dealing with more cleanup. A rainbow over the First Presbyterian Church on West Court Street right there, and we spoke to Rome Mayor Jeff Lanigan. He tells us contractors put up shrink wrap and scaffolding on the church roof before winter. Well, last night some of that scaffolding came down and pulled the shrink wrap off in the heavy winds. Fortunately, no one was hurt. In other parts of Rome, trees were down, stopping cars from getting through and taking down power lines, knocking out power to many parts of the city of Rome. This is on Penny Street. Folks out surveying the damage, just trying to get from point A to point B. Now to Floyd, that's where 5 people were trapped inside a mobile home in the Green Mansion Trailer Park on Soul Road. No major damage to the home, and fire crews were able to get everyone out. No injuries were reported, and another tree nearly missed 4 other homes in the same trailer park. And multiple trees and wires were down on Lakeshore Drive in Vienna over near Sylvan Beach. Crews from the Sylvan Beach Fire Department arrived to find a tree through this house right here. Just look at the damage. Holy cow. While on scene, crews observed smoke coming from the roof. Due to the unstable nature of the home, firefighters had trouble gaining access, and once they did, they were able to confine the fire to an electrical panel, but they weren't done yet. Crews detected a smoke detector going off in a neighboring home, and they forced entry and quickly confined a fire there to the kitchen area. And still a lot of folks without power due to the storm. Over 6,500 here in Oneida County. That's down from 7,900 late last night. Over 3,300 in Herkimer County, just like last night. And 385 in Madison County. That's down from 461. And of course, stay with News Channel 2 and WKTV.com throughout the day for the latest outage information. And of course, we'll have more from the hardest hit storm areas. While we are staying.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired.
Welcome back to Sunrise, everyone, on this Wednesday morning. And just for peace of mind, no severe weather expected throughout the day today. Just for those of you who had to deal with the pretty significant winds, especially in northern Oneida County. In fact, let's take a look at what's going on out there right now. Still some lingering clouds this morning, as well as some patchy drizzle, but that's really about it with active weather for today as sunshine gradually moves in. Our traffic tracker, we do have some road closures that were issued yesterday evening. They haven't had an update just yet as to whether they're open now, but we figured we'd pass them along just in case. First off, on Route 365 between Corber Road and Route 12, closed due to fallen power cables. This was issued yesterday evening around 6-7 p.m. And then secondly, heading up through 365 between Route 8 and Northwood Road, fallen power cables as well. Now, we'll keep a close eye on these if they do get updated on our maps, but still, with the fact that they are in an area that saw a brunt of that wind, there was some pretty decent damage up there as well. The radar right now, quiet for the most part, just some lingering drizzle this morning. Patchy clouds give way to sunshine and high temperatures in the 50s with pretty quiet weather. Finally, some peace and calm after a pretty busy day yesterday. Gary?
Sure, Eric, thank you. New this morning, health officials are warning about
The Oneonta is brought to you by Semicron Danfoss. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning, everyone. Time now is 5:20, and weather quieting down after a pretty busy day yesterday. Matter of fact, let's showcase a video submitted to us by Monica Underwood of the winds inside Rome. Look at that right there. That is some pretty significant wind speeds, and this is something we were tracking on social media yesterday with the brunt of that storm hitting at northern to central Oneida County, including Rome itself. Of course, some other towns up north as well. Got to see that as well. But what we were treated to is a fiery sunrise or sunset, one of the nicest sunsets we've seen in quite some time. This is taken by Jason and Clinton here, and just vibrant colors all around. And usually you get that after a pretty busy, active weather system, followed by clearing in the west. Either way, still over 6,500 without power in Oneida County. The number around 3,300 in Herkimer County. No outages in Otsego County this morning, but those numbers are expected to fall as quieter weather moves in today. Downtown Utica, a live view right now. Quiet conditions, 45 degrees and refreshing humidity, with the westerly wind kicking out any of that moisture for now. Still, lingering drizzle on the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 live radar. That ends throughout the day. As you zoom out here, quieter weather begins to move in. Severe weather risk, here you go. No severe risk today. So peace of mind for those of you that dealt with that busy weather and even damaging weather yesterday. Nothing significant is expected today. But what I will say is a heads up for tonight. There's potential for frost. Now, this is the frost risk today, or at least early this morning. Tonight is a better shot for it, especially in the hilltops north and south of the Mohawk Valley. Maybe some valley locations, but the highest risk zone will be in the higher elevations. Still, with that frost risk present, maybe you want to cover some of those sensitive plants overnight tonight. So to our Skycast today, sunshine moves in. It's a pretty pleasant but cool afternoon with quiet sunshine across the board. Tonight, overnight lows fall down into the low 30s, some spots upper 20s, climbing into the 50s to low 60s tomorrow with partly cloudy to mostly cloudy skies, and then maybe a few scattered rain showers right around or after sunset, as Friday starts out with some unsettled conditions, on and off rain, and even a rumble of thunder or two by the evening. And so your 7-day forecast, gradually warming up. So far looking a little rainy as we head into Saturday morning. Rain showers diminish by Saturday night. Sunshine moves in on Sunday. And overall, a pretty decent spring pattern here with 60s and 70s the next couple of days. Our coolest days will be today, and they'll be Saturday, with temperatures in the 50s. We'll be right back.
The Weather Center in Eric, boy, as we mentioned earlier, those storms packed a powerful punch.
Yeah, we are talking 70 plus, pushing 80 mile-an-hour winds from this storm system here. In fact, let's take a look right here as well. It was 77, the official wind gust report in Rome yesterday. And as a bit of a backstory, the tornado that went through Rome last year produced 79 miles per hour at this same weather station. But I do want to clarify that this weather station did not see the brunt of the tornado, so that wind gust for the tornado was likely a lot higher than that. But either way, anything above 60, 70 miles an hour is destructive winds here locally. But the good news is, things are starting to quiet down. Look at downtown Utica right now. Still some lingering drizzle, a few clouds, but other than that, mainly quiet weather. Radar, same story. Aside from some lingering drizzle, we have no storms we're tracking today. Temperatures are going to be a little bit cooler. In fact, quite a lot cooler than yesterday. We were in the 80s yesterday afternoon for the first time since Halloween. Now today, 50s if we're lucky. So we're about 30 degrees cooler today than yesterday, but still, we'll take the quieter weather when we can get it. Sunshine across the board this afternoon with high temperatures in the mid-50s. We are tracking frost potential tonight and what to expect for the rest of the week in that full forecast. Gary?
Boy, quite the cool down.
Yes.
Eric, thanks. And don't forget the storm.
News Channel 2 is brought to you by Holland Farms Bakery and Deli.
The Oneonta Camp is brought to you by Semicron Danfoss.
Welcome back to Sunrise. Happy Wednesday morning, everyone. We are tracking quiet weather today, and with that in mind, we can showcase our photo of the very, very fiery sunset yesterday. This was taken in Marcy, and the text along with it said that the heavens opened up after the storms, and just my goodness, that is quite the shot out in the distance there. There have been several amazing photos submitted to us both online, in our media, on social media, in our email, and of course at the link right there in the top of your screen, WKTV.com/weather/pics, which is the best way for you to have your photo featured right here on News Channel 2 at sunrise. And again, great photo there. We're seeing a lot more quiet weather today. It's a cooler day today, though. We have temperatures initially this morning sitting in the 40s, so somewhat similar to yesterday, especially in those higher elevations, but at least throughout the day today, we're not climbing into the mid-80s like we did yesterday. That was a very warm day. Today, mid-50s if we're lucky. Most spots will be in the 50s and 40s. Still, though, plenty of sunshine moves in after some lingering stubborn clouds in the early morning. And this will give way to dry weather this afternoon as well as tonight. Now tomorrow we start out dry throughout the morning, afternoon, but rain chances arrive. We have that plus frost potential in the near future coming up in a few minutes. Gary?
Eric, thanks. Phase 1 of Rome
New York's most dependable weather team. Here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Quite the storms rolled through parts of the area yesterday. Significant winds topping over 70 miles an hour. In fact, here's a view of the winds from a viewer-submitted video from Monica Underwood of the intense winds in Rome. And of course, it wasn't just Rome yesterday. This is where a lot of our video submissions came from. A lot of northern Oneida County, parts of Herkimer County, and even central Oneida County got to see this wind. Either way, it wound up with a pretty colorful sunset following that. This is taken by Jason in Clinton. Updates to the outages, they have decreased a little bit, a few hundred in Oneida County, down to 6,300 without power. In Herkimer County, dropping nearly 1,000 or so at 1,900 without power right now. So good news along that front, and we'll again continue to update these throughout the newscast as they'll fall with the lack of additional outages likely to take place. Either way, in downtown Utica right now, few clouds, patchy drizzle, but quiet conditions to start your day today. Temperature of 45 degrees, and we won't be seeing a whole lot of a warm-up today like we did yesterday. Highs are only expected to climb into the mid-50s if we're lucky. The radar still picking up on a very faint signature of some drizzle. You can see that radar scan right there south of Old Forge. But we zoom out. Quiet conditions entering our area as the active weather stays out to our east. So when it comes to a severe weather risk today, here you go. Peace of mind. No severe weather risk across any of our area throughout the morning, afternoon, and even evening and overnight. What we do want to mention, though, is there's a frost risk as temperatures today, or at least this morning, in some spots up north are approaching the frost point. We want to focus mainly on tonight, which will have a better shot of seeing temperatures below 32 degrees, especially in those hilltops north and south of the Mohawk Valley. So if you have any sensitive plants tonight, you might want to cover them a little bit, especially in those colder pockets of air in the southern valleys and in North Country. Following that, frost potential ends as the rest of the week looks pretty warm. So today, temperatures peaking in the upper 40s, low 50s. And then sunshine turns to a few passing clouds tonight. Partly sunny to mostly cloudy skies for your Thursday, but a little warmer and at least initially dry. By the evening, we'll see maybe a few spotty rain showers arrive a little after sunset, and that'll set the stage for a somewhat unsettled Friday. On and off rain for the morning, followed by a rumble of thunder or two with a storm or two by Friday evening. These look to be more of a garden variety thunderstorms. I'm not looking at anything severe at this point for now. And so your 7-day forecast, those of you wondering about weekend forecast conditions, at least for now, Saturday starts out dry, then ends with rain showers, drying out again on Sunday, and then the tale of what's been happening the past several weekends. Rain on Saturday, dry Sunday, or at least not the case last weekend, but either way, and then sunshine moves in following that. So if we can move that maybe a few days ahead of time, maybe that might get some sunny days for Saturday.
Yeah, as long as no more severe storms next week like this week.
Yes, hopefully.
Eric, thanks. The time right now is 5:54, still ahead of 2025.
Now, the news with Gary Liberatore and meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us here on this Wednesday morning. I'm Gary Liberatore.
And I'm Storm Tracker 2 meteorologist Eric Gage.
And Rome gets hit again.
Yeah, Rome, Vienna, Lee, Camden, even parts near Forestport, northern United County got hit pretty hard yesterday with those strong winds. In fact, those wind gusts right here around 77 miles an hour was the official recording in Rome. Now, for perspective, 79 miles an hour was the reported wind gust from the Rome tornado last year. But to give you some perspective, the Rome tornado, the strongest winds were not recorded here. The tornado did not directly hit the weather station, so this might be a little bit inaccurate with the strongest winds overall, but it goes to show you how destructive 70-plus mile-an-hour winds can be. And of course, in a few minutes, you'll see both the outage numbers, the latest outage numbers, as well as the damage reports that came in. So downtown Utica, quiet start today. Maybe some lingering drizzle, but that's really the only impact weather-wise for the entire stretch of the afternoon and morning today. The radar mainly clear, and temperatures in the 40s for much of the area. The only warm spot still right next to me, Poughkeepsie, at 67 degrees. The rest in the 30s and in the 40s. So what to expect today? Well, again, no severe storms. It's not going to be in the 80s as well. It's going to be actually in the 50s, so a bit of a cooler day today to wrap up April. But sunshine moves in and remains quiet and dry for the afternoon and evening. We're looking at the frost potential in the next couple of days, as well as rain potential in the next few minutes. Gary?
Eric, thanks. And the cleanup begins following last night our area, and we start over in Rome. Folks there seemingly on edge every time a storm rolls around after that tornado last July. And this morning, they are dealing with more cleanup. Check this out right here, a rainbow over the First Presbyterian Church on West Court Street. And we spoke to Rome Mayor Jeff Lanigan. He tells us contractors put up shrink wrap and scaffolding on the church after the tornado last July. And last night, some of that scaffolding came down and pulled the shrink wrap off in the heavy winds. Fortunately, no one was hurt. And in other parts of Rome, trees were down, stopping cars from getting through and taking down power lines, knocking out power to parts of the city. This is Penny Street Road right here. Folks out surveying the damage, just trying to get from point A to point B. Now to Floyd. That's where 5 people were trapped inside this mobile home right here in the Green Mansion Trailer Park on Sewell Road. No major damage to the home, and fire crews were able to get everyone out. A tree nearly missed 4 other homes in that same trailer park. And multiple trees and wires down on Lakeshore Drive in Vienna, right near Sylvan Beach there. Crews from the Sylvan Beach Fire Department arrived to find a tree through this house right here. Holy cow. And while on scene, crews observed smoke coming from the roof. Due to the unstable nature of the home, firefighters had trouble gaining access, and once they did get in, they were able to confine the fire to an electrical panel. But they weren't done there. Crews detected a smoke detector going off in a neighboring home. They forced entry there and quickly confined a fire to the kitchen area. And still a lot of folks without power due to the storm, and these were just updated by Eric just minutes ago. Over 6,300 still without power here in Oneida County, down from 7,900 late last night, and over 1,000 in Herkimer County, just like last night. And in Madison County, 384 people without power. That is down from 461. And of course, stay with News Channel 2 and WKTV.com throughout the day for the latest outage information. And of course, we'll have more from some of the hardest hit areas around our region. And we are staying on the story.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired.
Time now is 6:12 on this Wednesday morning, our final day of April, and things are starting to quiet down after a very busy and dangerous stretch of weather yesterday evening. In fact, we'll share some road closures in a second. First off, a look at some area cameras across central New York. We're mainly dry, a few areas of stubborn drizzle, clouds, which will turn to some more sunshine later on this morning, especially this afternoon. But a look at our traffic tracker this early morning. We have two road closures to mention, both along Route 365 up north in Herkimer County. First one is on 365. It's closed both ways between Corber Road and Route 12 due to fallen power cables. This was issued yesterday evening. As of now, the update still hasn't been submitted saying it's open yet, so for now, we'll treat it as if it's still closed. Same thing for 365 between Route 8 and Old Northwood Road. So any span in those sections there, they are closed due to power cables. Just a heads up early this morning to avoid those roads. So the radar today, early this morning, lingering drizzle. Expect that today, but by this afternoon, again, sunshine moves in. High temperatures climb into the 50s, so much quieter weather today compared to yesterday. Gary?
Eric, thanks. New this morning, health officials are warning about...
Swell your day. Watch for the Storm Tracker 2 Commutecast and be ready for your drive to and from work. The Storm Tracker 2 Commutecast is brought to you by the Pratt Munson College of Art and Design. Visit Pratt Munson today and ignite curiosity and creativity.
Golfers, get your WKTV golf card today. Don't miss out.
The Oneonta Cam is brought to you by Semicron Danfoss. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning on this final day of April. Destructive winds passed through parts of our area yesterday. Not everyone saw them, but those that did definitely got the brunt of the strongest part of the storm system here in the upstate New York area. A look at social media submissions taken in Rome by Monica Underwood is the winds of that strong line of storms that moved through Rome. This included portions of northern Ada County and northern Herkimer County. And a reminder that you don't need a tornado to have strong winds. So when we mention significant winds, even straight line winds being a concern, that a site like that is possible even though the winds are rotating. There's a lot of winds crashing down near the surface and have nowhere to go but sideways. So besides that, sunshine, or at least a pretty colorful sunset, followed after a pretty busy stretch in much of the northern to central Oneida County area. Updates to outages down to 4,800 in Oneida County and 1,600 in Herkimer County, with National Grid as of now saying they're still assessing conditions. Some outages are going to continue to decrease as they find certain things to fix, but either way, there's no set time just yet on outages getting fixed. So downtown Utica right now, cloudy skies, some patchy drizzle, otherwise temperatures in the 40s. With refreshing humidity. And we don't warm up too much today. We're not going to be seeing 80s like what we saw yesterday. We can see the faint signature of drizzle here in the radar, but that's really about it activity-wise. Clearing conditions are expected throughout the next couple of hours as low pressure exits to our east. So with severe weather risk today, non-existent. No high winds, no flooding, no hail, no tornadoes. So take a deep breath for those of you that experienced the storms yesterday. We'll be okay today. So the next system we're tracking is not really a system, more so the lack of a system. Clear skies will produce the potential for frost to form, especially in those higher elevations. Now this is this morning. This is the risk tonight. And it's mainly, again, in the southern valleys, North Country, higher elevations, it might want to cover your sensitive plants and blossoms. But either way, the risk ends by tomorrow and Friday as you warm up a little bit warmer. So today, stubborn clouds give way to sunshine. A few clouds continue to move in as we head into Thursday with, after a dry start, a few sprinkles of rain showers move in Thursday night, setting the stage for on and off rain and even some rumbles of thunder Friday. Nothing severe as of now, typical garden variety thunderstorms. But then after a dry start Saturday, rain arrives Saturday evening, temperatures in the 60s by Sunday. So we're still entering a pretty quiet stretch. So far, no severe weather expected.
Yeah, so a nice day today. A little cool, but not too bad.
Yeah, not too bad at all.
And if today is your birthday, make it a great one. Joining us now from the Weather Center, and again, Eric, those were some pretty powerful storms that came through, you know, for a couple hours last night.
Yeah, and the brunt of the winds topping 77 miles an hour. That is something you don't see too often here locally. Matter of fact, comparing it to previous records in Rome, this is about 2 degrees shy of the wind speed recorded from the Griffis Griffis weather station of the Rome tornado last year. Now, just as transparency goes, the tornado did not hit the weather station directly last year, so these winds were likely a lot higher. But either way, these winds of 70+ miles an hour are enough to be destructive by themselves. And to mention as well, with these types of storms, that you don't need rotating winds in a tornado to cause damage. We mentioned when there's strong wind risk, this is the potential that could take place, and the outcome, like what we saw yesterday in parts of Oneida and Herkimer County, are the outcome as well. So downtown Utica this morning, it's a quiet start today. Patchy drizzle, but besides that, it's quiet. No active weather expected for much of the day today. In fact, sunshine slowly moving in. We can see those peaks of sunshine out in Rochester and Buffalo. That's going to move its way south and east throughout the day today. So expect more sun this afternoon. High temperatures, not quite in the 80s. In fact, maybe 30 degrees shy in the 50s, but still a pleasant afternoon. And we're tracking frost and rain potential over the next few days. The details in just a few minutes. Gary?
Eric, thanks. And don't forget the Storm Tracker 2 forecast, never more than 10 minutes away each morning. President Trump is back.
The Oneonta is brought to you by Semicron Danfoss.
Welcome back to Sunrise on this Wednesday morning. After busy weather yesterday, things are quieting down, and with the following of these storms yesterday, there actually was a pretty great shot of the sunset, and this is a photo taken in Marcy, and the title submitted with this photo went, "Heavens Open Up After the Storms," and that's probably a very good explanation there. The scenery in the distance almost looks like there's fire in the sky. Probably the best shot of a sunset we've seen in quite some time. And usually get that with all the varying levels of clouds in the atmosphere as after instability moves through, the atmosphere stabilizes, and so all these clouds gradually sink and they move around, and it creates some of these vibrant colors right here. So amazing photos sent in to us in Marcy. If you have a photo like this you want to share with us, any storm damage, any spring photos, again, send it to WKTV.com/weather/pics. Gary?
That photo should be submitted to the Munson Art Festival this
Oh,
summer.
it'd be gorgeous. Yeah,
Wow.
gorgeous shot there for that.
That
yeah.
was incredible. Thank you. Phase 1 of Rome Health's capital.
Most dependable weather team. Here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning. Over 70-mile-per-hour winds passed through parts of our area yesterday. Not everyone saw them, but those that did definitely got the brunt of the storm. In fact, a submitted video sent in to us by Monica Underwood. You can see here the heavy rain and wind passing through. And a reminder, with storms like this, it doesn't have to be rotating winds. It can be straight line winds like what you see here. Either way, they can be just as destructive. But you can see here, still 4,000 or so without power in Oneida County. Herkimer County, 1,600 without power still. And those numbers are expected to fall as more repairs get made to lines. There could be some spots where there could be damage to power lines or trees on power lines that they haven't found yet. A lot of this happened close to sunset, so it might be still discovering it this morning. So either way, there are no dates or times set for restoration from National Grid as of now. We'll, of course, let you know later today if that does happen. Quiet in downtown Utica, maybe some patchy drizzle, but still 40s, refreshing humidity. We're not expecting a warm up like yesterday. We're staying in the 50s for much of the day today. Radar picking up on some very faint drizzle up to the north. We zoom out, quiet weather begins to move in. So we're not tracking anything severe in the near future. So peace of mind. No high winds, no flooding, no hail, no tornadoes today. You can relax and take a deep breath for those who experienced it yesterday, the strong winds. But we do want to emphasize a risk tonight, which will be the arrival of frost. This will likely be in those higher elevations, north and south of the Mohawk Valley. Temperatures falling near or below 32 degrees, some spots in the upper 20s. So just a heads up, if you have any sensitive plants and flowers and whatnot, to cover them tonight. And after this, there really is a lack of frost potential over the next few days. So to our skycast today, sunshine moves in, high temperatures climb into the low to mid 50s. Few passing clouds tonight, lows again you can see here falling into the upper 20s, low 30s. Then tomorrow, upper 50s, low 60s, partly sunny to mostly cloudy skies, a few sprinkles followed by scattered rain showers after sunset. And then Friday, a little unsettled with on and off rain, maybe a rumble of thunder by the afternoon. These appear to be more garden variety storms for now, so nothing severe for the short-term forecast. Your 7-day forecast, rain showers develop throughout the day Saturday. It starts out dry, but then sunshine moves in on Sunday, high of 60, and we warm up again next week. So I keep saying maybe we could say goodbye to winter time. I don't want to say it too early, but I think for now, the cold, sustained cold is gone.
Bye-bye.
Yes.
Eric, thanks. Well, it may be obvious that caring for the health...
News with Gary Liberatore.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us. I'm Gary Liberatore.
And I'm Storm Tracker 2 meteorologist Eric Gage.
And at this time yesterday, we were tracking those storms. Last night they came, and this is video from some of the damage. This is Vienna, and that home got hit hard.
Vienna, Lee, Camden, Rome, Forestport, locations in northern Oneida County, even Herkimer County got hit the worst of it yesterday. And that's the just some of the damage you can see behind us. Now, again, thankfully, a lot different today, but still those winds were approaching 75 or above miles an hour, those wind gusts. And anything above 55, 60, even then, just still regardless, 77 miles per hour is a very strong wind, enough for damaging winds to produce down trees, down power lines, and debris and whatnot. So just as a perspective, the recorded wind gust from Rome in the July tornado was 79 miles an hour. Now, this is the official reading. The tornado didn't directly hit the weather station, so this number is obviously a little bit higher, but still pretty decent winds. Downtown Utica, a live view outside right now. Blue skies moving in. Temperature still hovering in the low 50s, so it's not as warm of a day yesterday, but still. Today, we're tracking plenty of sunshine, temperatures peaking in the mid-50s. And beyond that, tonight, we actually cooled down a little bit. We're down into the 40s, eventually 30s. And we approach that temperature, of course, as we slowly approach the growing season, the biggest concern being frost. And we'll track those frost chances over the next couple of days, as well as even rain chances, maybe severe chances. Of course, I'll give you a heads up for that. Really non-existent, but all those details and more coming up in a few minutes. Gary?
Eric, thanks. Still a lot of folks without power at this hour due to last night's storms. Nearly 5,000 here in Oneida County, down from 7,900 late last night, and over 1,500 in Herkimer County, down from last night as well. And also 256 in Madison County, down from 461. And according to National Grid, their crews are still assessing the situation. No restoration times for Oneida or Herkimer County, but in Madison County, they do have an estimated restoration time of 3:45 this afternoon. Meanwhile, cleanup is going on at this hour. This is over in Rome after those powerful storms hit last night. This is video from North George and Bloomfield streets. Official wind gusts exceeded 75 miles per hour, caused downed trees, debris, and power lines. Tree companies, along with Spectrum and National Grid, are spotted around the city, with Rome Fire Department officials as well. Now, thankfully, as Eric mentioned, no more severe weather is expected today, but still, as crews discover and repair downed power lines, are reminded to stay away from them as they could be live wires. And here's a look from last night, a rainbow over the First Presbyterian Church on West Court Street shortly after the storms passed through. And we spoke to Rome Mayor Jeff Lanigan. He told us that contractors put up shrink wrap and scaffolding on the church roof after last July's tornado. And last night, some of that scaffolding came down and pulled the shrink wrap off in the heavy winds. Fortunately, no one was hurt. And in other parts of Rome, trees were down, stopping cars from getting through and taking down power lines, knocking out power to parts of the city. Again, this is on Penny Street Road in Rome. And to the east of Rome, over in Floyd, 5 people were trapped inside their mobile home in the Green Mansion Trailer Park on Sewell Road. No major damage to the home, and fire crews were able to get everyone out safely. A tree nearly missed 4 other homes in the same trailer park. And brand new this noon, these are pictures sent in to us by a local viewer, Mary Lighthall, up in Hinckley. This is on Route 365. As you can see, some huge old trees came down during last night's storm. And the video we showed you earlier right here, multiple trees and wires down on Lakeshore Drive in Vienna near Sylvan Beach. Crews from the Sylvan Beach Fire Department arrived to find a tree through that house right there. And while on scene, crews observed smoke coming from the roof. And due to the unstable nature of the home, firefighters had trouble gaining access, but once they did, they were able to confine the fire inside to an electrical panel. But they weren't done just yet. Crews detected a smoke detector going off in a neighboring home. They forced entry there and quickly confined a fire to the kitchen area. Again, luckily, despite all of the damage across our region, no reports of anyone getting injured. Brand new this.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good afternoon. We are tracking quieter weather today after a very busy stretch yesterday evening. A live look at Oneonta right now. Temperature of 45 degrees. At this time yesterday, we were pushing the low 70s and then eventually the mid 80s. So it's quite the difference, at least temperature-wise, over the past 24 hours. But still, the sun is shining and we have no severe weather threat looming, which is the good news today. In fact, a lot of these puffy cumulus clouds you see there will gradually fade away, and we'll see a lot more sunshine throughout the afternoon. Radar looking dry here early today. And as you look at the radar and satellite, still high pressure in place right now. No approaching front from the west. And again, today, severe weather risk, non-existent. No risk for winds, flooding, hail, or tornadoes. So green across the board. And in fact, speaking of greens, maybe go out and play around at golf today. Now, it's going to be cooler. We still have a decent wind out there right now, but still, at least the weather looks to be dry for the entire day today, including this evening. And beyond that, although the weather remains cool, it does get cold. Enough for some frost potential tonight, especially in the higher elevations north and south of the Mohawk Valley. So, if you have any sensitive plants that might need to be covered, early heads up for those of you that live north and south of the valley. Maybe some folks in the higher elevations surrounding the thruway, just to cover up your plants just in case. So our Skycast shows sunshine this afternoon, high temperatures in the mid-50s. Tonight, overnight lows fall into the low 30s, upper 20s. Then by noontime tomorrow, a few more clouds in the sky compared to today, but a little warmer. We're approaching the upper 50s to as high as the low 60s. And then by tomorrow evening, a stray shower possible. Better shot for showers in the evening and overnight after sunset. Then by 6 a.m. on your Friday, a little unsettled, patchy drizzle, clouds, but a warm start in the upper 50s, climbing into the 70s by Friday afternoon with some potential for some thunderstorms in the evening. These appear to be more garden variety storms, so The biggest risk is just being downpours, thunder, and lightning. No severe wind risk with those. So your 7-day forecast following the thunderstorms on Friday. We dry out Saturday morning, rain showers Saturday evening, and then sunshine for Sunday. And I forgot. I did not put Cinco de Mayo. Oh, is it Cinco de Mayo on the 7-day? The 5th. The 5th, and I'm losing track of my days here.
I think it's Monday.
Be Monday. The 5th would be Saturday.
Oh, really?
I guess I missed the chance here, but either way, it's going to be. Actually, no, I messed up. It's April. I'm dumb. Yeah, May would be Monday, so May 5th.
Happy Cinco de Mayo.
Happy Cinco de Mayo, yeah.
We need a couple of margaritas, I think. Well, good afternoon once again, and thank you for joining us. I'm Gary Libertor.
And I'm Storm Tracker 2 meteorologist Eric Gage.
And again, you were tracking those storms yesterday at this hour. Last night they came, and today, the cleanup.
And it's a great day for it, too. I mean, it's a little cool, but the sun is shining, and there's no more additional rain or even severe weather to expect today as well. So that's the silver lining there. So, but again, today's weather looking nice. In fact, I want to share with you guys a photo that was submitted to us on our website. Again, you can send your photos to weather or WKTV.com/weather/pics. A photo of the first hummingbird of the season taken in Richfield Springs by Eileen. So shout out to Richfield Springs. The hummingbirds are starting to arrive, and we'll continue to see more and more of them as the migration moves north. Downtown Utica, live view right now. Sun is shining. A few puffy cumulus clouds, which are slowly exiting our area and fading away as drier air moves in. 50s and 40s across the board, and today highs only in the mid-50s. So we're about a few degrees, maybe 20 or 30 degrees cooler than yesterday afternoon, but still sun is shining. Not too bad of an afternoon out there today. We are tracking frost potential, the chances for that tonight, plus the potential for rain the next few days in that full forecast. Gary?
Eric, thanks. Still a lot of folks without power due to last night's storms. Nearly 5,000 in Oneida County. That's down from 7,900 late last night and over 1,600 in Herkimer County. And just 256 in Madison County. That's down from 461. And according to the National Grid's website, no restoration timeline for Oneida or Herkimer County just yet. But in Madison County, those folks there, the estimated restoration time for you out there is 3:45 this afternoon. While we continue, the Anita.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good afternoon. Quieter weather across the board today. Matter of fact, a live look at Oneonta as expected. I mentioned about a half hour ago that those puffy cumulus clouds will start to fade away, and sure enough, there they are. That dry air is working in. With the drier air near the surface, there's not a whole lot of that moisture near the ground when it lifts to produce clouds. So that's why throughout the day today, these clouds will fade away and we'll see a lot more blue. Either way, it's 46 right now in Oneonta, a bit of a far cry compared to yesterday's temperatures. In fact, look at this map here. 24 hours ago, we were 27 degrees higher in Rome, 31 Hamilton, 35 degrees warmer in Rochester. So you can see quite the difference here. The only exception being down in the Hudson Valley with the warmer temperatures so far today. Either way, it's dry on the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 live radar, and on the radar and satellite, no weather system approaching us from the west today. In fact, no risk, no severe weather risk, no high winds, flooding, hail, or tornadoes today. So take your breath. It's okay. I know some of you dealt with some pretty significant winds yesterday, and some of you that have dealt with the winds prior, for example, with the Rome tornado and other tornadoes last year, it might be somewhat traumatizing. But again, this is the way the weather works, and we're always here to make sure you're aware of these situations when they happen. We're around the clock checking the radar and everything like that. Still, today looking great for golfing this afternoon. A little bit of a wind, but besides that, it's dry. There's no rain expected during the daytime today. But what is expected is tonight, the potential for frost. We are looking at mainly higher elevations north of the Mohawk Valley and south, in the Hudson, or I should say in the southern valleys and North Country. Those are the highest risk zones, but still it's a non-zero risk for frost in the Mohawk Valley. If you want to take an extra precaution, maybe cover your plants with plastic sensitive plants, flowers, blossoms, you name it. Maybe you go ahead to start doing that tonight. Either way, no more frost is expected following tonight for the next few as we warm up even more into Friday and Saturday. So in our Skycast early this afternoon, temperatures slowly climbing. Still that decent northwesterly wind, but either way, it's dry. A few clouds pass over us tonight, and then a few more clouds by tomorrow. By 6 a.m. on your Thursday, it's a cold start, but we warm up into the 50s, pushing 60 tomorrow. And as you can see here, a few more clouds in the sky, maybe some light sprinkles by Thursday evening. And then by tomorrow night, we'll see that rain roll through, and then a few sprinkles again Friday morning, but this time even warmer, upper 50s to start, climbing to the low 70s with the passage of a cold front Friday evening that could fire up a thunderstorm or two. This looks to be garden variety thunderstorms, nothing severe as of now. So typical thunderstorm risk of lightning and thunder and heavier rain. And there it is, Cinco de Mayo. I was having such an issue a half hour ago trying to figure out what day of the week it was. But don't worry, it's next Monday, and I know there's some local places here in the area that might be having some Cinco de Mayo deals. Mm-hmm. Should I reveal the place I want to go to?
Why not? Let's do it.
Frozen margaritas.
Yes.
Of course, now losing the name of the place as well. It's in Washington Mills. It's Rio Grande.
That's
couldn't think the name of it.
I couldn't even.
Fantastic
Yeah.
ones too. So maybe shout out to them.
Yep, it's coming up on Monday.
Yep.
Don't forget. Eric, thanks.
With Kristen Copeland.
Thanks for joining us tonight. I just got an update from National Grid. More than 2,100 homes in Oneida County are still without power after last night's wicked weather. One of the hardest hit areas, Rome, a city still in recovery from last summer's tornado. And while it wasn't a tornado this time, there were micro bursts of winds reaching 77 miles per hour. The First Presbyterian Church on West Court Street was damaged for a second time. The roof that was torn off last summer was under renovation, and last night's wind tore through the plastic covering and knocked over scaffolding. And the Christmas tree purchased and planted by the Rome Lions Club in Veterans Park, it's gone. It was ripped out of the ground last night and already taken away by the DPW. The tree was planted in 1981, and a tree lighting ceremony has been a holiday tradition in Rome.
When I drove to work this morning, I went by Veterans Park and the tree was already gone. That was prior to 8:30 this morning that I drove past, so that they were right back at it, and they're out there right now still cleaning and getting everything ready so that National Grid can get the power restored for the places that are still without it right now.
National Grid still out on city streets, as is the Rome Fire Department and DPW crews. Areas like North George Street, Elm Street, and along Bloomfield Street sustained substantial damage. I mean, look at that. The winds knocked over giant pine trees onto rooftops, snapped some right at the base of the tree, and others were clipped halfway down. Tree removal services were dispatched to several neighborhoods. People who live here say, though, this was not your typical storm.
I was actually sitting out in a truck, and it became so bad that it was so white I couldn't see in front of my face, and I seen the trees start falling, so I ran inside the house and I was watching out the window. My wife got the kids into the bathroom, and they're all in there, and my niece lives upstairs behind me. She was scared, so yeah, pretty much it just came through like a whirlwind.
These are people who lived through a tornado last summer. There are wires down in parts of the city. Make sure you're staying away from them. Let's get you over to the Weather Center now and talk about what we experienced and what's to come.
Yeah, and it's a good reminder that when we talk about severe thunderstorms, this is what they can do. This one's a little bit stronger than some of them that we've seen before, but this is the idea. They affect a large area and they produce a lot of wind. Whether it's straight, whether it's twisting with a tornado, really doesn't matter. When you get to a certain wind speed, it does a lot of damage, and we saw that yesterday. Much quieter conditions today, though. 54 degrees, much cooler. Sunshine, a bit of a breeze out there. Live look at the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 Doppler radar. It's nice and dry. It's going to be cold enough for frost tonight. I hope you didn't plant anything sensitive. If you did, you're going to have to cover them up or bring them inside. We've got warmer and cloudier weather for tomorrow. And then as we look ahead, showers and thunderstorms return Friday. We'll talk more about that. Temperatures in the 40s and low 50s this evening, mostly sunny skies. Again, a cold night tonight before things start to warm up. I've got to look at the forecast coming up. Kristen, back to you.
5 more Marcy Corrections officers appeared in Oneida.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's Chief Meteorologist Bill Curtis.
Beautiful day today, a lot cooler out compared to yesterday, but again, a nice afternoon. Bright blue, sunny skies, live look in downtown Utica, temperature of 54 degrees. Clear skies in place, light winds means it's going to get chilly tonight. Cold enough for a frost. More on that in just a second. Live look at the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 Doppler radar. Again, it's nice and dry this evening. If you're going to take advantage of it, we have daylight until about 8 o'clock these days. Wanted to take a look at and recap yesterday. The thunderstorms that rolled through the area were part of a long track of damage. It started in western New York, started just south of Buffalo. One particular storm along this line ended up producing all kinds of reports. In fact, 240 miles of multiple regions of damage. It wasn't a path, but there were many, many spots of damage along this. It eventually ended in just south of Speculator, those same storms that went over Rome. So a very impressive day in terms of how long that storm lasted. It also shows you the ingredients were in place for some of that strong weather. Just a reminder, as we get into the summer season, if you haven't downloaded our Storm Tracker 2 weather app, we highly recommend it. It's a great way to get instant weather warnings as they happen. Speaking of things to watch here, we do have a risk of frost. In fact, pretty high risk across the area. We're looking at overnight lows in the low 30s region-wide, a higher chance in the higher elevations of seeing temperatures below freezing. But either way, if you did plant early, you're going to want to take action. You're going to have to bring those plants in or cover them up. If you are doing some gardening over the next couple of days, you do have some pretty nice weather ahead, although we do also have some rain in the forecast, especially Friday and Saturday. With temperatures cooling off. Just a reminder, our average last frost is typically the middle of May for most of central New York. Higher elevations, it takes until late May, sometimes June, especially in parts of the Adirondacks. Temperatures in the 50s this evening, Little Falls 58, Cooperstown 54 degrees, Oneida with 54. High pressure building in, it's going to keep us dry. The winds are going to change, and that's going to help temperatures warm up as we head into tomorrow. Overnight lows tonight drop into the 30s. We'll see partly sunny skies early in the morning. Temperatures will climb into the 60s, more clouds and sunshine throughout the day, but it will be noticeably warmer. We'll see a few showers here as we head into tomorrow night as well as Friday. The next weather system arrives, bringing us a few scattered showers, maybe a rumble of thunder, but it's not looking as active or as strong as what we saw yesterday. Tonight, frost, low of 33. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy, 68 for the high. Storm Tracker 2 7-day forecast. It's cooler over the weekend, scattered showers, especially Saturday. Temperatures near 60 degrees. We warm up next week. Sunshine on Monday. Temperatures close to 70 as we head to Tuesday and Wednesday.
All right, nice, Bill. Thank you. More part of the country. As Laura Aguirre reports, the relentless storm has some residents simply trying to catch their breath.
The minute I opened the door to look outside, everything broke loose.
Nixa, Missouri resident John Ruppert now counts himself among the number of lucky survivors. His state, one of more than a dozen hit by a dangerous storm system that roared across parts of the central and eastern U.S. yesterday.
You know, it was horrible, man.
Fortunately, Ruppert and his family were unhurt, but the damage to his business is extensive. This massive tree crushed the home of Jerry Bowe in Willard, about half an hour away.
I just kept praying that it wouldn't get as bad as it finally got.
A possible tornado ripped away part of this Potosi, Missouri elementary school as staff and students ran for safety inside a FEMA-provided shelter.
To have that FEMA building here and to have that extra safety, that is the most rewarding part.
Violent wind gusts up to 90 miles an hour tore across a 500-mile stretch from eastern Indiana over much of Pennsylvania, leaving widespread damage and power outages. At least 2 school districts near Pittsburgh remain closed today. Many of the areas hit by Tuesday's devastating storms are back in the crosshairs again, with multiple rounds of severe thunderstorms possible across the southern plains today, according to the Storm Prediction Center. Ongoing heavy rain in parts of Oklahoma and Texas is worsening already extensive flooding, with authorities calling for evacuations in the towns of Lexington and Lawton near Oklahoma City midday. Parts of those states and neighboring Arkansas also under a tornado watch into the evening. I'm Laura Aguirre reporting.
Centro Bus will start serving veterans. That's Mary Keeler reporting. Let's get you back to Chief Meteorologist Bill Cardis.
So we're talking about thunderstorm wind damage, and we're going to use what's called augmented reality to show you what's going on. So how did we get so much wind with those storms yesterday? Has something to do with the sinking air in a thunderstorm. It's called the downdraft. So when it starts to rain, the rain cools off the air, and cooler air is more dense than warmer air, so it sinks. And if this process can get very violent at times when you have really heavy rainfall, and the key difference is dry air. We had a lot of dry air in the middle part of the atmosphere, which is something we don't have very much of in the middle of the summer when it's really humid throughout. Because we had this dry air, this process happened really rapidly, and that created sinking violent air, which created all the wind damage that we saw across the area yesterday. And that's how it can happen multiple times in the same storm. And the bottom line is, whether the winds are twisting or whether they're going straight, if it's over a certain speed, it doesn't really matter. It does a lot of damage. And so we saw that across a good portion of the area, especially north of the Mohawk Valley yesterday. Temperatures climb into the 70s again by Friday, but we cool off heading into the weekend. We're expecting the weather to remain dry this evening, but chilly. Temperatures will be dropping into the 40s after sunset. If you are taking the dog out for a walk, looks like a pretty nice evening. Tonight's featured dog Mo from Whitesboro. This is brought to you by Nissan. Kristen, back to you.
All right, Bill, thank you. Herkimer College played host to the
WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's Chief Meteorologist Bill Cardis.
Good evening. A beautiful day. A lot cooler than yesterday, but it's a lot quieter. We're taking a live look in Cooperstown. Sunshine, 55 degrees. Clear skies in the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 Doppler radar. It's going to be a lovely but cool evening to get out and enjoy, and we're expecting chilly conditions heading into tonight. We've got brand new video, aerial footage of Hinckley. There was a lot of damage last night from those thunderstorms, and this is an aerial footage in view of what was taking place. You can see there's a very clear path of damage here, but the trees are all going in the same general direction. So this was not caused by a tornado, but it was caused by a violent straight line wind. And we want to thank Jessica Bartlett for submitting this video footage. And again, it's very helpful to get kind of a broad view of damage in some of these larger events. And again, a lot of damage to the north, especially in Hinckley, along with many other areas. And again, folks are still without power tonight. It's going to be chilly tonight. In fact, we are expecting a widespread frost across central New York, with temperatures dropping into the low 30s. Just a reminder, it is too early to plant anything that's sensitive to frost because we don't really get out of the frost season until the middle to end of May across central New York. And if you did plant early, you're going to have to take action tonight. You're going to have to cover those plants, or better yet, bring them in. Cool but sunny and pleasant day across central New York. Our sky watchers are checking in. Whitesboro 54 degrees, Norway 57, Westford 54, Paynes Hollow with 53. Our next weather system comes in from the west. It's going to change the wind direction. Some extra clouds with this will be arriving tomorrow, along with showers tomorrow night. It's chilly tonight. Overnight lows drop into the 30s, partly cloudy skies. Tomorrow, it's mostly cloudy, it's dry, and it's noticeably warmer. High temperatures climb into the mid-60s. Cloudy skies tomorrow night. A few showers are expected. The next weather system arrives Friday. Another cold front arrives. This one produces showers, maybe a rumble of thunder, but not to the severe levels that we saw yesterday in parts of our area. We are looking at cooler weather, though, heading into the weekend. Tonight, frost, chilly, a low of 33. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy, pleasant, and warmer than today, a high of 68. Storm Tracker 2 7-day forecast. 72 on Friday, showers, thunderstorms. Saturday, cooler, showers, 60 degrees. A passing shower on Sunday, along with some sunshine, a high of 60. Next week, temperatures warm up. Some rain chances continue Tuesday and Wednesday with highs close to 70. We'll be right back.
without power after last night's wicked weather, but that is much lower than an hour ago and significantly lower than last night. For the city of Rome, this storm comes less than a year after a tornado struck. Remember, in July, when the roof was ripped off the First Presbyterian Church, last night, storm set recovery back a bit. 77-mile-an-hour winds tore through the plastic covering and knocked over the scaffolding that was set up to fix the roof. In Veterans Park, the Christmas tree that is lit every year during the holiday season is gone. It was ripped out of the ground and cleaned up by city DPW crews early this morning. The tree was purchased and planted by the Rome Lions Club in 1981.
When that rolled through last night, we knew exactly what we needed to do to get the equipment out there, and the guys knew exactly like kind of the form of attack that they were going to take on this. So I don't want to say we're getting used to it. By no means do we want to see this as a regular thing.
Rome Fire Department also responded to areas with trees down, and National Grid is still working to restore power. Areas like North George Street, Elm Street, and along Bloomfield Street sustained substantial damage. The winds knocked over giant pine trees onto rooftops, snapped some right at their base. Tree removal services were dispatched to several neighborhoods. People who live here say this was not your typical storm.
I couldn't see a foot in front of my face. It was bad. I mean, you see how big the trees are here. It just snapped them right in half. And that's all I heard. It almost sounded like a freight train going over the top of my house.
If you live in Rome, just use caution moving around the city. Let's get you over to the Weather Center and talk about it with Chief Meteorologist Bill Cardis.
Yeah, big storms last night for sure. 240 miles. That was the damage report path that started in western New York and moved all the way east, including our area. We've got more damage photos to show you here. We'll get to them in just a bit. Current temperature 53 degrees, much lower humidity, much more comfortable conditions out there. But with clear skies in place, it's a nice evening on the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 Doppler radar. But this also means it's going to get chilly tonight. We're expecting widespread frost. Warmer and cloudier weather tomorrow, followed by our next chance of showers and thunderstorms tomorrow night into Friday. They don't look to be as strong as what we dealt with yesterday. A lovely evening here in central New York. Temperatures drop into the 40s, so it's going to cool off. We are tracking a warmer finish to the week, but some cooler weather to follow for the weekend. A look at the forecasts coming up. Kristen, back to you.
5 more Marcy corrections officers.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's Chief Meteorologist Bill Cardis.
Gorgeous day across central New York. Lots of sunshine, especially in the afternoon after a few clouds in the morning. This is live looking downtown Utica, 53 degrees. If you are looking to enjoy a much more comfortable evening, it's going to stay dry. It's a live look at the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 Doppler radar. Recapping last night's storms. The storms started yesterday south of Buffalo, and there was a very distinct path of damage reports that stretched 240 miles across New York State. It was one particular clump of thunderstorms that did the majority of the damage, that moved north and hit Rome and created that 77-mile-an-hour wind. But this also did damage in other parts of our area. I wanted to highlight 365. This was aerial footage taken earlier today from Jessica Bartlett, and you can see a very clear path of damage, but the trees are all falling one direction, so that does not indicate a tornado, but rather straight-line wind. And again, I'm not saying this to dismiss the damage, but to just highlight exactly what we're talking about here, because whether the winds are swirling or whether they're going straight, this obviously did a whole lot of damage. And again, just a reminder that severe thunderstorms, you see and you hear severe thunderstorm warning, that is sometimes what can happen in them. And that's why we want you to get inside and seek shelter when these storms roll in the future. If you do not have our Storm Tracker 2 weather app, this is a great way to stay informed and be on top of the changing weather. And again, you can it's free and easy to download. Frost risk tonight. We're going from summer weather yesterday, we were in the mid-80s, to frost tonight. In fact, the frost looks to be region-wide. If you did plant early, it's time to bring those plants in or cover them up, because they will get damaged from frost tonight across all of central New York. Clinton 55 degrees, Micah New Hartford 54, Norway 57, Westford 54. Pretty quiet weather here for the short term. Again, it's chilly tonight. Overnight lows drop down into the 30s. Tomorrow, more clouds than sun. We start out with temperatures in the 40s. It remains dry throughout the day. But again, it is looking mostly cloudy and warmer than today. There will be a few light rain showers tomorrow night. Another cold front arrives on Friday. Temperatures climb into the low 70s. This front could produce showers and maybe a rumble of thunder, but it does not look to be strong weather like we dealt with yesterday. Tonight, frost, low of 33. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy skies, 68 for the high. Storm Tracker 2 7-day forecast. Showers, a few thunderstorms Friday, 72. Showers on Saturday, 60. The chance of a shower Sunday, 60 degrees. We start to warm up next week. Temperatures close to 70 by Tuesday and Wednesday.
All right, Bill, thank you. Still ahead here on News Channel 2 at 6.
Look at the forecast with Chief Meteorologist Bill Curtis. Good to see you. I haven't been around. Kind of busy tonight.
Welcome back.
Welcome back to the studio. Frost risk.
Yeah, we're talking about frost tonight.
It's chilly out there tonight.
Yeah, we were in the 80s yesterday. Now we're looking at temperatures in the 30s tonight with widespread frost. So, this is why we tell people don't plant this early. Sometimes it gets warm, we get excited. We're still in frost season, and tonight is a perfect example. 40 degrees, clear skies. We're going to drop into the low 30s, and there's going to be the risk for frost. If you did plant, you're going to want to bring those plants indoors, cover them up. If you can't bring them indoors, again, it's going to be a pretty cold night across the region. Live look at the airfield battery, Storm Tracker 2 Doppler radar. All is quiet across the region. We're warm. Over the next couple of days, we'll be in the upper 60s. We're in the low 70s Friday before the next cold front arrives. Temperatures in the low 60s Saturday and Sunday. Frost tonight, we're down to 33. A couple of warm days ahead. We're tracking the next cold front that arrives Friday. We're going to look at the forecast coming up. Jason, back to you.
Bill, thank you. Staying on the story, state police have identified
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's Chief Meteorologist Bill Curtis.
A clear, chilly night out there as we take a live look in downtown Utica. Temperature of 40 degrees. Looking at the radar this evening, again, nice and quiet, as you would expect. By the way, after everything that happened yesterday, we're kind of just looking back on things, and we've been getting a lot of questions about, did this line of severe storms qualify as a derecho? A derecho is defined as a violent, large amount of wind from thunderstorms. And we saw a few derechos in New York State. You go back into the mid-90s, 1995, 1997, the Labor Day storms. This has to meet very specific criteria. We met some of those criteria. For example, we had wind gusts over 58 miles an hour along most of the path, with a few higher wind gusts along that line. But the biggest problem we didn't make was the distance criteria. This did produce a long path of damage. It was 240 miles, but in order to qualify as a derecho, it has to be more than twice as long. And also, it was missing specific features on the radar, like a bow echo and a rear inflow notch, and again, just more technical things here. Bottom line is, this was a very destructive event for sure, but it didn't quite make it to the level of what we would classify this as a derecho. I have the wrong graphics here, apologize for that. We're talking about our weather app, by the way, with all the watches, warnings that were issued yesterday. This is a reminder that as we get into severe weather season, you want to have ways of getting warnings, and a very simple, easy way is to download our Storm Tracker 2 weather app. Those warnings come in very, very quickly. Now, going into tonight, it's cold. Temperatures are going to be in the 30s, and this is just a reminder that we have frost tonight. We could still have frost in the forecast until about mid-May. We're not really safe from planting until the middle of May across the Mohawk Valley, late May in the higher elevations, sometimes even June in some of the pockets of the Adirondacks. If you are gardening, weather looks good over the next couple of days. We do have some rain in the forecast heading into the weekend. Next weather system approaches from the west, a couple of clouds with it. Looking at partly cloudy skies tonight. Overnight lows drop down into the upper 30s to low 40s. Heading into tomorrow, it is going to be a lot warmer. Partly sunny skies. Temperatures climb into the upper 60s. Rain showers return heading into tomorrow night. Frost tonight, low 33. Tomorrow, Mostly cloudy skies, 68 for the high. Storm Tracker 2 7-day forecast. The next cold front arrives Friday. This does not look to be as strong. We're looking at cooler weather on Saturday, showers, 60 degrees. Temperatures warm up again heading into early next week. We'll be right back.
Forecast with Chief Meteorologist Bill Curtis. Well, it was 80-something degrees yesterday.
Yeah.
It's not 80-something degrees tonight.
Yeah, we're going from 86 yesterday to 32 tonight.
That's a ridiculous
It's
swing.
a big swing, big swing. This is the time of the year where that can sometimes happen. And with that big drop comes frost. Pretty good risk for frost tonight. I hope you haven't planted anything sensitive to frost. If you did, you're going to have to bring that indoors tonight or cover them up if you can't bring them indoors. We're already sitting at 38 degrees, clear skies. Again, we're going to be in the low 30s tonight. Widespread frost is expected. We do warm up. A live look at the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 Doppler radar. It is dry. We'll climb into the 60s tomorrow, back into the 70s Friday. Showers, thunderstorms arrive, and then we cool off as we head into the start of the weekend. But highs will be in the low 60s here both Saturday and Sunday. For us tonight, we're down to 33. Tracking the next chance of rain. Look at the forecast coming up. Jason, back to you.
Bill, thank you. Staying on the story, state police.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's Chief Meteorologist Bill Curtis.
Good evening. A chilly night across the region. Live looking downtown Utica, a temperature of 38 degrees. We are looking at clear skies on the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 Doppler radar. Yesterday's storms, we're looking back at this, and we've had some people ask us if this was a derecho. Now, recall a derecho is a special type of thunderstorm that has a long-tracked history of producing wind. So they are violent wind producers, but they also produce a long path. We had the wind gusts over 75 miles an hour, and we had a lot of wind damage, but the thing is we didn't have that long track of the storm. It was pretty long. The path was over 240 miles, but it needs to be at least 400 miles long in order to be considered a derecho. Also, another technical aspect of this, there's certain features in the storm that didn't manifest, and so again, that's another thing that was missing. But again, a lot of wind damage, violent wind, especially in our area, but something that, again, didn't quite make it to the level of derecho. Going forward, have a way to get weather warnings. Yesterday was a very active day. The Storm Tracker 2 weather app came in handy if you had it. If you don't have it, we recommend checking it out. It's a way to get instant warnings to your phone. Going forward, it is cooling off. We made it to the mid-80s yesterday, talking about a frost tonight. Just a reminder, we're not really safe from frost until the middle of May, a couple weeks away for the Mohawk Valley, late May for the higher elevations, and parts of the Adirondacks. It's not until early June that we're away from the frost season. If you are doing some gardening, the weather looks good over the next couple of days. You will have to water for the next couple of days, but later in the week, some rain is in the forecast. Bigger picture shows pretty quiet weather. We are tracking some clouds to the west. Our next weather maker will be arriving as we head into late tomorrow and especially Friday. Storm Tracker 2 Skycast. Clouds will be spreading across the region tonight. Overnight lows drop down into the low 30s. Mostly cloudy skies tomorrow. High temperatures climb into the mid-60s. A few showers arrive tomorrow night. A rumble of thunder is possible early Friday as a cold front arrives. Temperatures hit 70 degrees. The conditions for strong weather are not there, not expected to be there on Friday, so we should be spared from that. Frost tonight, low 33. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy, warmer, 68 for the high. Storm Tracker 2 7-day forecast. We're into the low 70s Friday. Showers, thunderstorms, cooler over the weekend. Showers on Saturday. The chance of a passing shower Sunday. The weather next week warming up. Temperatures back into the upper 60s Tuesday and Wednesday. We'll be right back.